Hi everyone, this is Ilina Crouse and welcome to another Hero Arts video. In this video, we'll make a card using the Window of Love confetti die along with Love Bandit stamp set. So let's get started. I'm using Snow White cardstock and the Window of Love confetti die along with the Love Bandit stamp set. So first I'll be starting by die cutting the background die, the background confetti die from Snow cardstock, and I cut down my panel to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm positioning it onto my die and using some microsport tape or any other tape that's repositionable that you have handy, like washi tape you can use to secure that cardstock onto the die, so when you run it through your die cutting machine, it doesn't move. So by magic of YouTube, I already die cut that die. And I have a blush note card. I'm using some strong adhesive to apply on the back of my die cut. I'm just going along the edges, making sure that I have nice coverage so I don't have parts of that die cut sticking out when I put it onto my note card. So I'm just adding little dots of adhesive all over the intricate die, making sure that it's nicely covered. So next I'll be using my Misty to put that note card in the corner, and then I'm using that corner to position my die cut as well so it's nicely lined up. So I'll just press that on top to make sure that the adhesive sticks down to my note card. So we have that done. Next, I'm putting another cardstock panel, and while I have my Misty out, I'll stamp the image for my card. I'm using this little cute raccoon from Love Bandit stamp set. I'm using Intense Black hybrid ink. This is alcohol marker friendly as well as watercolor friendly. So I'm stamping it a couple times to have nice coverage so that the ink is nice and intense black. So there's my image. Next I'll use the coordinating die cut to cut that out. Again, I'm securing that die using some microsport tape. You can use washi tape or any other tape you have handy. So by magic of YouTube again, I have that die cut. So next I'm positioning some black cardstock into my Misty, and I'll stamp the sentiment from the same set that says "You Stole My Heart," and I'm using Versamark ink because we'll emboss this one with detailed white embossing powder. So before I stamped that, I applied some anti-static embossing anti-static powder so that embossing powder doesn't stick all over my black cardstock. Next, I'm using the heat tool to melt that embossing powder. We're done here. So next I'll just cut that strip from that sentiment and position it onto my card. Next I die cut a vellum circle using the Circle Infinity dies to kind of soften that background so the raccoon kind of stands out. So now we're left with to color that little cute raccoon, and I'm using some Copic markers. I'm using the toner gray, and I'm just doing some quick blending and coloring the areas one by one. So I start with the body, then I'm moving to the tail, and then I'll do the head. So I'm doing the little raccoon belly here. And then the head. Again, I'm using the same family of gray, the toner gray, to color the head. And next I'll be using some of the pinks, the RV and the R's for the heart and the ears. So let's color the heart now. And I'm not doing some extra fancy coloring, I'm just doing some basic blending here and quickly coloring that image. Next I'm adding little pinkish red onto the ear of the raccoon. So here's that colored raccoon, and now all is left is to assemble the card. I'm gonna use some vellum adhesive to adhere that circle vellum, the vellum circle, onto my card. So I'm just adding that adhesive in the middle, adhering down, and then I'll use some dimensional squares to adhere the raccoon and the sentiment onto my card. So I'm just adding those to have nice coverage, so when you put this card in the mail, the raccoon doesn't kind of collapse in the parts where there's no the foam adhesive squares. So I'm removing the backing here, and I'll just adhere it onto my card. Next, I'll do pretty much the same thing with the sentiment. Remove the backing and stick that down onto my card. So I wanted to add extra details, so I decided to add a few sequins, a few ombre blush sequins. And before that, I'm adding some clear lacquer pen onto the heart to add extra shine and to make it more stand out. So before I adhere the sequins, I just want to position them to see where I like them to be. And then I add the adhesive and stick the sequins onto the card one by one. So I'm adding here, on each side, I'm adding 2 small and 1 larger sequin. Kind of making them symmetrical and kind of coordinating. And I'll be using some strong adhesive to add little dots onto my card where I will stick the sequins. So we're adhering them on one side, and then the other side is left here. And this pretty much finishes the card for today. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to visit the Hero Arts blog and click on the subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos. Thanks for watching. Bye!